In 1927, Birmingham was one of the few cities in the South without a garden club. So a group of 12 civic-minded ladies met at the home of Mrs. Crawford T. Johnson to organize a charter club whose purpose was to stimulate those already interested in gardening and to lend a helping hand to those who were not so successful in flower and plant cultivation. They decided to conform to the requirements of the Garden Club of America, a volunteer-based nationwide organization formed just 15 years earlier with the mission to promote the knowledge and love of gardening, to aid in the protection of native plants and birds, and to encourage civic planting. The ladies chose the name Red Mountain Garden Club, as most of the founding members lived on or near Red Mountain. Membership was limited to 30 members and 10 associates, who were all men. The club affiliated with the National Garden Club of America organization in 1933, the first garden club in Alabama to join. Today, this organization is comprised of over 200 garden clubs in 42 states, with over 18,000 members. From its inception, the club was actively involved with annual flower shows, participating in Birmingham's first in April 1928. The very first project of the club was the establishment of a bird sanctuary in tribute to Mr. Gerard Harris, an associate member whose life work was conservation of bird life in Alabama.
We would have picnics over at the bird sanctuary. We loved it.
Since May of 1956, the main project of Red Mountain Garden Club has been the design, installation, and maintenance of the Memorial Garden located at the Birmingham Museum of Art. Land was given by the city of Birmingham for the location of the Oscar Wells Memorial Building, and Red Mountain Garden Club members asked the city to grant them the privilege of establishing a garden on the property. Under the leadership and vision of Mrs. Henry Lynn, the board of the museum adopted a resolution to design a portion of the property for a memorial garden. Mrs. Lynn outlined in a letter to the board the club's desire to fulfill this role, and the choice of Mr. William H. Kessler as the landscape architect for the proposed memorial garden. He insisted that his plans for the garden be one of the first gifts to the effort.
Well, I remember very well Mr. Kessler coming to our house with the plans on our dining room table. The city gave the property, Mrs. Wells gave the bequest, and the Red Mountain Garden Club requested the privilege of putting a garden here. So that's how it all got started.
The first installations were brick walks, a pool, a sprinkler system, and recessed lighting for the steps.
Farris Lynn was our big leader on it, and Mary Haskell's sons gave the walls, the brick walls that closed the garden that was so important. And Farris led us all through the horticulture. She was a wonderful leader and a wonderful gardener and had great taste.
The trees were planted. I guess that was maybe the first thing after the garden was laid out. When the garden, of course, was first begun, it was completely bare, a sea of red clay. I believe my parents gave 2 willow oaks, and then George and I gave, although I'm sure my mother and father actually wrote the check, we were so young, but theoretically, George and I gave the 8 large oaks in memory of our 4 grandparents, all of whom were deceased by that time, sadly. But my grandmother, Lynn, had also been a member of the Red Mountain Garden Club, so it was thought that would be a very appropriate memorial to her and my other grandparents as well.
In 1963, the Birmingham Beautification Board commended the club for its magnificent contribution made to the beautification of the city in the construction and maintenance of the museum garden. Mrs. Lynn was given the GCA's Horticulture Award in 1982 in recognition of her sensitivity, creativity, and dedication to design and horticulture.
That was a very special occasion for her when the president of the Garden Club of America came and presented the award, and she was very touched by that because the garden meant so much to her.
In April 1966, a fountain designed by Barbara Leckberg of New York was commissioned in honor of Mary Stuart Snyder Johnson, president from 1947 to 1949. In 1967, the Spencer Gallery addition to the museum necessitated alterations in the memorial garden, with new mature plantings including a 30-foot magnolia and a large deciduous holly, tying the addition to the existing plantings. After 4 years of planning, a larger iron gate for the entrance to the garden was dedicated in 1976 by the club, Mr. Preston Haskell Jr., and friends in honor of Mary Rushton Haskell, president from 1949 to 1951. Many other memorials for benches, walls, and a terrace followed, including a large bench in honor of Virginia Yeoman Simpson, which is now at the parking lot entrance to the museum. The bench was originally at the Redmont Road home of Mrs. Simpson. This bench, a gift from her daughters, was dedicated in October 1978. In 1994, 8 garden benches were given to the Memorial Garden in memory of Evelina Spencer. The benches, known as the Red Mountain Garden Club bench, were advertised in the GCA Bulletin.
The benches were custom made for the garden, and they're unusual but handsome pieces of sculpture in themselves. There's a really nice soft green shade in this garden. As you look at them, there is a glow of richness of color.
Many large and small memorial gifts have been received for the benefit of the garden. These gifts were recorded in a handsome book. Today, the Memorial Fund is still thriving and is a major funding source for capital improvements. Red Mountain members plunged into fundraising activities to help pay for the garden. The Weatherly home on Stratford Road became the initial site of an annual country fair. Members canned gallons of homemade vegetable soup, pickles, and gingered pear preserves.
Everybody made things, aprons and whatever, knitted stuff, and made soup, and we hauled in stuff.
We had these aprons that looked like made out of sort of mattress ticking, blue and white or red and white stripes, straw hats, and we helped, someone bought something, we'd help them to the car with it and so forth, and it was fun.
I was pretty small, and I'd put them in a wagon and haul them to wherever they went and pick them up and haul them back, and of course haul for my mother, and used to drop stuff off of Paula as well. So I've been hauling flowers a long time.
An Easter fair was held at the Birmingham Country Club, and in 1962, an annual garden fair took place at the museum in both the garden and in the main lobby. Proceeds from the sale of bedding plants, paintings, and prints went to further landscape the garden. The most recent long-term fundraising effort for the garden is the annual greenery sale. Started in 1982, the sale has become a Christmas institution in Birmingham, and it brings the members together as a club, which is almost as important as its proceeds. The garden's maintenance and enhancement have benefited from 2 large trusts. In 1982, Mr. Prince de Bardeleben established the de Bardeleben Trust in honor of his wife, Louise Cunningham de Bardeleben, president from 1959 to 1960. The trust provided for the seasonal plantings, giving added color throughout the year in the garden. In 1997, brothers Henry and George Lynn established a fund in honor of their mother, Ferris Gambrel Lynn.
George and I set up another trust in Mama's memory for the maintenance and enhancement and adornment of the garden.
Members worked in the Memorial Garden weekly, pulling weeds, trimming shrubs, deadheading flowers, and watering in droughts. The typical maintenance of a beautiful and well-loved garden.
Mondays was the main day because the museum was closed, and you could get more work done and have 3 people in. It was sort of a nice thing for the membership. It was good to have to come down here and pull weeds and plant vinca. I mean, it wasn't very exciting work, but it meant they came and were really a part of the garden. I thought it was a great thing. I enjoyed coming.
From 1991 to 1994, major renovations occurred in the Memorial Garden due to a multi-million-dollar major addition and complete renovation of the existing museum. Carolyn Dickinson Tynes worked in collaboration with Jane Reed Ross of Reese Hoops and Fincher and with artist Valerie Jourdain to redesign the existing Memorial Garden to fit into the larger plan. During the renovation, the garden was completely removed, except for 10 majestic oak trees. The Memorial Garden was one section of a new sculpture garden, the size of a football field. Red Mountain helped design the garden section in collaboration with Ms. Jourdain, who designed 2 magnificent pools.
I remember very much for dealing with the artwork and the pools that were going to be put into the garden. We have the posters of the pools in our house, and I think it was a really good memory, and I think Mom was very proud of the outcome.
Club members donned hard hats in January 1993 to see the construction progress at the museum and in the garden. Significant efforts were made to preserve the oak trees during the renovation. The club hired an arborist, and as a result, the trees flourished during the renovation and looked better than ever. Mrs. Tynes received a Merit Award from the American Society of Landscape Architects in recognition of her outstanding achievement in design for the garden. In 2007, the club once again embarked on a renovation to enhance the garden, this time working with landscape designer Norman Johnson.
Bringing Norman Johnson in, who advised us on this garden, has brought it to a new level. The garden had been planted in the center with a lot of hand-me-down plant material from our grandmothers. Over the years, the trees grew and the soil was depleted. The tree roots were depleting.
And at some point, I just said, what if we just got rid of the stuff, the smaller plants, move all of the real intense planting to the margins of the garden, and maybe do something just as simple as grass.
I think it's modern and great looking and very appropriate for the sculpture to stand out and be recognized as a piece of art.
We call it the sculpture garden, and yet it had 3 pieces of sculpture in it. And so I'm real proud to have played a role in getting these additional 5 or 6 pieces that are exhibited now.
The latest project, which is to be completed in the late spring, involves the much-needed lighting of the space.
After we updated the garden to the best of our ability at the time, I remember Norman and I standing back, and he looked at me and said, "Well, now what are you going to do about the lighting?"
She said, "Okay, what do you have in mind?" I said, "There's this guy in New York. If we're going to do lighting, let's get somebody really good." Charles did the Towers of Light after 9/11.
Charles Stone's visit in the fall of 2010 proved to be inspirational and exciting. His idea to eliminate the pools and the Botera from the rooftop were well received, and the vision for lighting the garden grew from there. Funding for the project received a grand jumpstart when the Collette family and Mayer Electric made the commitment to provide the lighting fixtures for the project. The design team, which was managed by Architecture Works and executed by Landscape Services, has worked carefully to protect the trees and to make the walkways safer while extending the green space and providing subtle artistic lighting for the sculpture.
I think having this new lighting is going to make such a difference. It's going to highlight the sculpture, it's going to highlight the greenery, and it's going to bring this space even more alive than it is. The seamless interior of being inside with art and being outside with art. And I think this new lighting project really brings all of that together in a very special way.
The Memorial Garden continues to be a retreat for the pleasure of all citizens in the heart of a busy and growing city.
It's so nice that the trees have matured. There's nothing like pretty close to mature oak trees here right under the freeway in the city of Birmingham.
So many museums do have gardens, and particularly a museum in the center of town of an industrial city. It's important to have greenery and splashing water and an oasis for the people to come to.
The Memorial Garden, with its tree-lined walkways and shaded benches, is a favorite spot for quiet contemplation, conversation, and respite from the hustle and bustle outside. It truly is a Birmingham oasis, which honors those who by their works and gifts have beautified our city.